This is yeah, Mr. Bloom, dropping knowledge about Rome. Check it. The Roman Empire, mighty strong in power, finally gave in as it succumbed in the last hour. But thankfully the legacy of ancient Rome prevails. Art and law and architecture, all that Rome entails. The ancient world is gone, now time for the Middle Ages. Rome was so magnificent, but history's turning pages. You see, they couldn't find a way to stay completely stable. The leaders were corrupt, the military unable. In 330 CE, the capital, Constantinople, became the new headquarters, so the empire was hopeful. But soon Germanic tribes invaded Rome and caused destruction. The city fell after 500 years of no disruption. Ancient Rome was ruined, and yet it still lives on. Its influence emerges from the darkness like the dawn. Engineering, language, writing, and philosophy. Who made a change in all these areas? It's got to be Rome, city of the great empire. Rome, legacy spreads like fire. So much invented, so much achieved. Can you see how Rome affects your society? Rome, city of the great empire. Rome, legacy spreads like fire. So much invented, so much achieved. Can you see how Rome affects your society? Let's start with the art, cause it flows from the heart. Murals, mosaics, and frescoes played a part. The Romans were gifted at making lifelike statues, as if 3D character was staring right at you. Roman style was borrowed from the Greeks who came before them, and all throughout the ages still nobody can ignore them. Painters and sculptors carry the Roman contribution. The USA has Roman art in every institution. We come now to Roman architecture and engineering. These accomplishments during their time no one was nearing. Vaults and domes and cathedrals were splendid in appearance. The building firm and strong created a vast amount of clearance. The grand style of Romans has inspired many architects. They know the perfection reached by Rome was really hard to get. Still in the US you see the Roman imitations. The Capitol building serves as a symbol of the nation. Rome, city of the great empire. Rome, legacy spreads like fire. So much invented, so much achieved. Can you see how Rome affects your society? Rome, city of the great empire. Rome, legacy spreads like fire. So much invented, so much achieved. Can you see how Rome affects your society? The Romans were the best at building aqueducts and roads. They built hundreds of bridges that sustained a heavy load. An aqueduct is like a pipe that carries water far. The fact that we still use them shows how brilliant they are. The Roman language, Latin, still affects people today. English and Spanish borrow from it in many ways. Many English words contain a Latin root or prefix. Researching a few words would show the English really needs it. Also, the Western calendar came from Julius Caesar. The Romans gave so many gifts to modern day receivers. The proverbs are wise sayings, and still there's Roman numerals. Roman life lives on today from cradle to the funeral. Ancient Rome was ruined, and yet it still lives on. Its influence emerges from the darkness like the dawn. Engineering, language, writing, and philosophy. Who made a change in all these areas? It's got to be Rome, city of the great empire. Rome, legacy spreads like fire. So much invented, so much achieved. Can you see how Rome affects your society? Rome, city of the great empire. Rome, legacy spreads like fire. So much invented, so much achieved. Can you see how Rome affects your society? And I'm out. Yeah. Mr. Bloom on the mic.
They bled us white, the bastards. They've taken everything we had. And not just from us, from our fathers, and from our fathers' fathers.
And from our fathers' fathers' fathers.
Yeah.
And from our fathers' 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 fathers.
All right, Stan, don't labour the point. And what have they ever given us in return?
The aqueduct?
What?
The aqueduct.
Oh, yeah, they did give us that. That's true, yeah.
And the sanitation.
Oh, yeah, the sanitation, Reg. Remember what the city used to be like?
Yeah, all right, I'll grant you, the aqueduct and sanitation are two things the Romans have done.
And the roads.
Well, yeah, obviously the roads. I mean, the roads go without saying, don't they? But apart from the sanitation, the aqueduct and the roads...
Irrigation. Medicine. Education.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
And the wine.
Yeah, that's something we'd really missed, Reg, if the Romans left.
Public baths.
And it's safe to walk in the streets at night now, Reg.
Yeah, they certainly know how to keep order. Let's face it, the only ones who could in a place like this.
All right, but apart from the sanitation, the medicine, education, wine, public order, irrigation, roads, a fresh water system and public health, what have the Romans ever done for us?
Brought peace.
Oh, peace! Shut up!
Arturo Pittore here, but you can call me Art. This is Explorations in Art History, starring me. And a hand. Well, what about the rest of me? Hello? People watching from around the world, and I'm stuck waiting on some five-fingered prima donna. Okay, well, that's better. Woo! That Mediterranean wind feels pretty, breezy. It looks like we'll be talking about the Greek and Roman period. Leave it to the Greeks to turn geometry into art. 1000 to 700 BC marked a period in Greek art called the geometric period because of the decorations on the pottery of the day. Simple geometric designs were combined into a repeating pattern that circled the pot. Later, abstract figures of animals and people appeared. They used pots for storing wine and oil, for eating and drinking, as prizes at athletic games, and even as burial markers. Start as a tot, end as a pot. Hey, it was a joke. Let me out. You guys? Here. Guys. In the Archaic period, their art began to move toward more realistic portrayals of the figure. From the Egyptians, Greeks learned the trick of adding hair down the back of their marble statues to give strength to the neck area, and spreading the stance of the legs to give a statue stability. Ow! Too much stability! Male statues were called kouros, and the females, kouroi. Greek pottery styles changed as well. They created the popular black figure ware style, which showed black figures on red pots. And then they reversed the formula into another popular style called red figure ware, showing red figures against a black background. Red figure or black? Which one makes me look thinner? Greece, however, wasn't one big happy country at the time. Instead, they had several Greek city-states. The two top dogs, Athens and Sparta, were often at odds, jockeying for position and power, until the Persians attacked in 480 BC. Then Athens and Sparta dropped their differences for the moment, and together they repulsed the invaders. But not before Persia had done some serious damage to the city of Athens. It was time for the Athenians to rebuild. Surging with confidence after their triumph over the Persian Empire, the Greeks launched into a golden age called the Classical period. Pericles, the leader of Athens, ordered the rebuilding of the temples on the Acropolis, where the famous sculptor Phidias decorated the Parthenon, a temple dedicated to Athena, the founding goddess of Athens. Classic sculptures became more realistic and at the same time idealistic. Sculptors like Polykleitos searched for the mathematically perfect proportions of human beauty. Poses became more natural by using principles like contrapposto, a pose that gave an elegant balance to the figure by shifting the angles of the shoulders to the pelvis. Using the ratio of the size of the head to the body, Greek artists discovered that the average male or female has a proportional height of 6.5 to 7 heads. By increasing the size of the body to the head, they discovered a more visually appealing proportion. Even today, comic book artists use these idealized proportions to draw superheroes. Art will smash! Yeah! In 336 BC, Alexander the Great took power and spread the Greek Empire from Egypt to the borders of India. His death ended the Classical period. In the Hellenistic period, Greek sculptors still popped out amazingly lifelike sculptures, but now they added more emotion and action, like poor Laocoon and his two sons being strangled by two giant snakes sent by the gods as punishment. The sculptor Praxiteles broke the long Greek tradition of portraying male subjects in the nude and the females clothed with his Aphrodite of Knidos, which became the first nude woman. More Roman copies were made of this Greek sculpture than any other. The idea of empire appealed to the Romans too, and in 214 BC, they took control of Greece. The Romans loved Greek culture. They copied Greek statues, paintings, and architecture. They even adopted the Greek gods, though they renamed them all. Zeus, meet Jupiter. Poseidon, meet Neptune. Aphrodite, meet Venus. The Romans, though, were much more interested in portraiture of real people. Instead of seeking the ideal, they sought for a true likeness of their subject. Warts and all. Also, Romans used art as propaganda to promote a political agenda and glorify emperors and their exploits. Emperor Augustus had himself portrayed as a strong young military leader in his warrior's breastplate, even though he was much older at the time. Kind of like some people's Facebook picture. Trajan's column is like movie scenario in stone, the sculpted scenes depicting Roman battles and their ultimate victory. Roman architects became masters of the arch and the dome. The arch was a huge innovation for the creation of bridges and aqueducts. And the dome became the staple of big official buildings, like the Pantheon, which became one of the most influential buildings in Western architecture. The expansion of the Roman Empire spread Greek and Roman ideas throughout Europe, which formed the foundation of Western culture. Even today, we are still influenced by ideas developed in ancient Greece and Rome.